Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we are talking about Andor Episode 8, Narkina 5. Episode 8 felt weird to say just then, because I was like, have we... Oh yeah, I suppose the first two seasons of Mando were both 8 episodes, but like normally this is it. Like this is the max that we get of a Star Wars show so far. And we've still got 4 episodes to go after this. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, and I was thinking like, oh man, we haven't had a lot of guests, but we have had guests and we will have guests. It's just it's weird because it does feel like we should have been wrapping up by now.
Spacing them out as well, like across the season. Yeah. It's weird the way, because they changed the schedule on this and stuff, but it sort of just worked out that I was working more of the season than I was not. I think when the initial schedule panned out, it was like half and half. And now it's sort of slightly skewed to more working days, which makes it a little bit harder to get guests because we are sort of tied to a strict time and everything. But yeah, we got episode 8, Narkina 5. That's also what's throwing me with this one. We got a number in the title. Just a planet title. Nothing crazy with the title on this week. But yeah, let's just say hello to some people because I know that you and I both have some things to get off our chest. Adam is here. Hey, Adam. Sarah Kelly's here. Jeremy's here. And our good friend most of the time, StreamYard, is also here. Now, before we go live, most weeks, Ralph and I have a little moan about, well, we love StreamYard. It's really good. It's a really good service that we're really happy using. But the layout of it on sort of our end of things isn't
it's awful.
The most. Yeah. All right. I was trying to sort of sugarcoat it a little bit. It's not convenient for like the buttons that you got to click at the right times.
Right. You know, I'm watching. I watch a lot of YouTube that use StreamYard.
Yeah, I can like call it now as well when I see it.
Yeah. So like I watch Toy Geeks with former guests, Jay and John. And from Geek Dad Live, and watching their live stream every week, I can see Jay stalling and going over here to get to the end broadcast button. It's crazy. So anytime you see us looking over this way, that's where the chat is.
Yep.
But then that's where the controls are. So if I want to do something like this,
you have to close the chat.
I have to close the chat.
Yep.
Do this. And do the banner. Now, if I want to go back to the chat, I can do that by hitting the chat and bringing up Stevie who showed up. But that's still going to run until I go to the other tab. It's guys.
Yeah. We love people watching at work. Tristan's also here watching at work. We love it when people do that. Because of the time that we do this, it's quite often the case. And thank you all for it. So my problem is also that. So often, like, I'll have the chat up and Ralph will be doing sort of some of the back end stuff. That's more often than not how it goes, like, especially near the end of the show. So when we miss comments, that's why we don't mean to do it. My complaint that I've got this week is so the Apple, like the Mac OS updated this week, and it's got this really nice feature where you can use your phone camera as your webcam. And I upgraded my phone this year. I got the 14 Pro, and the camera on it is incredible. It's really, really good. Way better than the built-in camera on this MacBook Pro from 4 or 5 years ago that is bad. And I've got it's an okay camera, but it's a cheap webcam that I've just got on here. But as you guys have probably noticed if you watch regularly, it sort of auto zooms and there's no way of changing it. And it auto focuses and it just does my head in and it's just clunky. So I was like, sweet, I'll be able to use it. Fired it up yesterday, was testing it out. Everything else works fine. Use just a quick native click, bang, go straight to that camera. I'd be able to do fun stuff with it. Apart from StreamYard. They're the only platform it seems so far. And I'm sure that it'll come. I'm sure that it'll be added. But at the moment, I was just like, oh, come on, StreamYard, keep up.
Yeah, there's so many people using StreamYard that you would think that they would do some major updates.
They'd be on it, yeah.
Also, just to let you know, just so you know, and I don't want to get too much on this. Like, we're here, the chat is over here, and the controls are over here in separated boxes. So if there's anything I need to do, I need to close out the chat. Below us is a tiny picture of me and a tiny picture of James. So if I want to remove James, I click the picture, James is gone. I click the picture, he's back. Other than that, the whole bottom screen is nothing.
It's so much space down there. It's nothing.
There's layout controls, which we don't like. Ugh. And there's, but that's it. StreamYard, I know you're here. You're here every week.
Every week. You love us.
Put the banners and videos below, and so we can see the chat and that at the same time. That's all I ask.
What we're doing is we're doing this. Normally we'll do this off camera, but we're hoping by putting it in the episode, we haven't bored you all too much, and that maybe StreamYard might see it and go, huh, yeah, these jabronis are right. We will change it just for them.
Well, we're dealing with Andor fans, which means they have patience.
Yes, that's it. And, you know, we're dealing with Star Wars fans who apparently don't have anything to complain about at the moment. So complain about StreamYard. All right.
So are the complainers true Star Wars fans?
Oh, well, they're the ones who are tweeting about it.
Technically, Webster's dictionary defines a fanatic as somebody who is appreciates something. So if you don't appreciate something, you're not a fan. Like I don't appreciate the Houston Astros, so I'm not a fan.
Did they knock out the A's or something?
I have no idea. I just fucking hate the Astros. They're a bunch of cheaters.
Cheats. I was going to say, they're cheats. That's all I know. That's all I know about the Astros is that they're cheats. All right, enough about sports.
Oh my gosh, Adam's being toxic and complaining in the. Here we go.
I've got it. Adam, I saw your tweet earlier on about prisons. Let's just jump straight to that point. So it's a human-only prison that Cassian Andor is sent to. It's really interesting. It's very THX 1138 E4B inspired. It's
love it.
It's gorgeous. It's amazing to look at. Everything about the prison and the way it's run is really interesting, and we will get into it more.
Fucking shitty as shit.
Oh yeah. But yes, it is only populated by humans, both the guards and the inmates. And that's like across all those levels that we see. I have a theory as to why. You look like you got something to say.
I think so as well.
Okay.
I think it's segregation, and I think the Empire is racist.
I think there is definitely something to do with that. Or it could be a biology thing. They've got a really interesting lockdown system here. And it could just be that it definitely works on humans, and it potentially only works on humans.
Like if you get Rio in there, he could probably grab on something with his arms and
exactly. Or other people, other species might react differently to things. Or not even. You're just thinking like being able to get off the floor. I'm thinking like if they zap a hut, the hut's just gonna be like, cool, I'm super powered now. Bang, there goes the door. Like
that's all I'm thinking about is that floor. Every time I go, it's not like often I do this, but anytime I go on like bumper cars, I'm scared shitless of walking on that metal floor.
Yeah.
To get into the bumper car. So
all this electrified stuff is like, just don't. Yeah. It is
like when they took off their shoes and those Imperial officers walked in with those boots. I'm like, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, my heckles went up as soon as like the guy on the shuttle was just like shoes off, sandals off, like bare feet from here on out. I was like, why? And then Bill and Ted walked in down the corridor in those cool boots, and I was like,
I heard the Bill and Ted 2 boots.
Absolutely, the Bill and Ted 2 boots, and I was like, all right, this is there's definitely something here. But yeah, like we got so many things with this episode, and it's just. The filmmaking of the show, we sing about it every week because it's so good. But there's the shoes come off. Cassian's taking his shoes off, and then we cut to Deidre putting her boots on, or no, Cyril, I think, or just a close up on his boots, and then we pan up, and it's the parallels.
We did that with the collar last week.
The collar last week, the boots this week. It's the parallels between these characters, whether it be Cassian and Cyril, or Cyril and Deidre, or whoever the parallel needs to be. This week between Cassian and Cyril, especially at the start where we see Cyril when we meet him like at his shitty cubicle job, they are both in prisons of their own creation.
Yeah.
Like they are both there, and it's like neither of them really deserves to be there. They haven't done anything, but it's because of actions that they've had in the past that has sort of landed them in that situation. And it's guys, it's so good.
The scene with Dedra and Cyril, I was like, oh shit, it's happening. It's coming together.
Yeah.
So we're starting to close into like one storyline.
All the plots are sort of rolling together.
They saw that Dedra's story kind of bookends this episode, but the majority of it is like what Cassian's doing and what
it's a full ensemble episode. Like they said that episode 7 was sort of a standalone, but it still felt like a good act 1 to this sort of.
Also, it still feels like, even though we're dealing with 3 episode arcs, they all feel like the continuing story.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like we're stopping and starting. Like Clone Wars used to do that. Like you'd have 3 episodes without anything from Jar Jar. Or, I mean, you'd have half seasons without that. I'm thinking like you'd have 3 or 4 without Ahsoka, and then you'd have an Ahsoka block, or you'd have an Obi-Wan only arc, or some Darth Maul stuff, or whatever it was going to be.
Which was my main complaint with season 7 of Clone Wars, is that they put the 2 Ahsoka stories back to back. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it would have been better structured having the Bad Batch stuff in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
And also then if you're watching it back through, you can go through and go like, you don't have to go through a season and a half before you get back to Ahsoka after she leaves the temple, sort of thing. Passage of time, I don't know. They wanted to introduce the Bad Batch so that people were used to them a year later.
Feels like I don't even understand. Like I don't even know. Like, it's just directors are doing these in 3-bit chunks, but they all feel connected. It doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Like you can.
There's still a voice. There's still the Tony Gilroy sort of through line of it.
Yeah. God, it's so good.
It really is.
Hopefully Adam was okay that we got some aliens at the dinner party.
Yep.
And dude, don't forget about that beach last week. You loved all the beach aliens and stuff. Like, it's just this. It's just something I feel that the Empire is.
It's a segregated prison, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like
maybe the world, maybe the atmosphere isn't breathable for like non-humans or something. Like they could have a lot of in-universe reasons. The real reason is it's just easier. They've got like there's a lot of stuff going on these sets that, you know, so let's just have it all as human actors, where you're not going to be distracted by looking at what's going on in the background, because it's more important to be focusing on the stuff up front.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like with Andy Serkis, who's in the episode, not unprecedented, right? We've had like
Andy Serkis,
multiple Andy Serkis in his second Star Wars role.
Yeah.
But we've seen double duty done by live action people and animated people. Like Mark Hamill's voiced a bunch of
he's all
puppeted animated voice. Warwick Davis, Anthony Daniels, and Ahmed Best are sort of background characters in Attack of the Clones. So when I saw him, I'm like,
around, yeah.
I was like, when I saw him, I'm like, sweet Snoke.
This is your Snoke theory.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, it was good to see him, and I feel like the Empire, the way he's saying, like, he's done in whatever 249 shifts or whatever he said, I feel like after being beat down in this system enough, they don't get freed.
Oh no.
I feel like they get signed up right into the Imperial Army.
Yeah, like he just becomes like a mud stomper sort of thing on Mimban or something. Like, yeah.
And then the Imperials don't really have any aliens, with the exception of Thrawn, who is kind of always been sort of this character.
Oh, he was always on the outs. Yeah, the other Moffs and stuff, like the other admirals, always gave him a lot of shit. That's even like canon in like the new Thrawn books. Like, like where it's a case of he sort of had to fight and scrape his way through. He got elevated very quickly because the Emperor saw things in him, but he was always sort of looked down upon. He had to work harder than everyone else to get to his station.
Yeah.
Which makes him more impressive. But
yeah.
I thought, and you going back to what you were saying about they're not released, I think that is especially true for people like Andy Serkis's character, whose name I did write down, not on my notes though. I think I sent it to you for
George Snoke.
George C. Snoke. He's definitely like, he's indoctrinated at this point. He knows that he's a prisoner, but he's
basically an Imperial officer the way he's running around barking orders. Like there's no difference between him.
He has pride as well. It's not just doing it because he's told to. He is taking pride in his unit, in his shift, in his floor. He's actively competing because, I don't know, maybe he likes flavor in his food. Maybe that flavor is awesome. Maybe he gets to choose the flavor.
Maybe.
But yeah, like everything about that prison just feels like it would just mentally drain you. I kind of understand why that guy just jumped off. I get it.
And it happens so much to where like one guy's like, great, now we have to smell him all night.
Yeah, they're used to
this. Has this happened before?
Oh yeah.
No one's like, no one's like, oh no, it's our friend. It's who is it this time?
It's the tall guy. You know, it's that guy over there. Like,
yeah, the tall guy from 3.
Yeah. Like probably only the people at 3 know his name. Like that's it. Like they are so split. But we don't just get Andy Serkis coming back this episode. There's another one that we meet at this prison who we've known before. At 5. We meet Melshi. This is where Cassian meets Melshi, who is part of the Rogue One team.
Which
Melshi is he's kind of like Cassian's lieutenant on the attack on Scarif. He's the one who's like, he takes like when Baze, Chirrut, and those guys take like one group that way, Melshi takes the other group that way, sort of thing. And he's fleshed out in the Rogue One novelization a fair bit more, but I think he's there and possibly dies with Bodhi Rook. I think he dies there at that point. But yeah, he's part of that team. He's definitely one of those rebels. And he's a cool character. Like, he's got the thick sort of Irish or Scottish accent.
All right.
Yeah, he's a good character. Definitely fleshed out.
I'm bringing him up, and I'll again vamp for a second because I got to go to a third section to bring up some images.
Adam's here with some of the details about Melshi. Yeah, Melshi's team puts the charges on things, light him up style. Yeah, he's the one who sort of blows shit up. He's cool. I like Melshi. But yeah,
still working at it.
Okay, cool. While you're doing that, we're gonna definitely come back to the prison. So let's just keep talking about that. Here we go. That's Melshi in Rogue One. He's the one who pulls out Jin at the very beginning of the prison transport.
Okay.
That's Melshi. Yeah, he's there throughout the movie.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I did not recognize him. I had a question.
I just picked up on the name. I probably wouldn't have recognized his face, but like I knew the name.
Yeah. The interesting when they were brought in, they were talking about like, aren't there supposed to be 2 of you? And one of the Imperial like security guards isn't there yet. He shows up late. Like that's all one of those things where you know someone's a spy. Like that's kind of in every spy movie. It's like when the guy goes undercover, there's aren't there supposed to be 2 of you? And the guy jumps in and says, "Oh, I was running late." Yeah,
he's got like some lame excuse. There's a few things in this episode that I'm like, okay, so this is all got to be set up right, otherwise it's just weird. And Cassian seems like confused and weird, like he's almost expecting to see someone that he recognizes. Right. I was wondering if it was going to be Vel, like straight away in there at first. Yeah, it was all a bit sus.
Yeah, and the thing is, this was the longest episode. This was a 56-minute episode. There was a lot going on.
52, yeah.
So unless it's important, you know,
weird choice.
They're not cutting it out for a reason.
Because of the conversation that happens at the end with Luthen and Saw talking about this planet, I believe. and what's going on there. It wouldn't surprise me if it's someone that either Luthen or Saw has already got in place. Potentially, yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it felt just like episode 6 when they were doing the heist, and they kind of injected themselves into the Imperial garrison, and
they just sort of
flowed. Who are you guys?
They were just a lot smoother.
Outpost blank. Yeah. So there's definitely something up with that character. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of a rebellion going on in the prison with the sign language.
Seems that way. Yeah, really cool. Nice that they're sort of communicating, like, presumably with these guys have just been doing this for long enough that they've worked on this system. Cassian clocks it straight away, but like, again, no progress of it yet. So I guess he's going to try and get in with that group and be the ones who get out. Again, now we know 2 people escape.
Yes. What are they building? At first, it looked like a droid, or like a K2 torso, and I think Alex and I brought that up on the reaction video, the breakdown trailer video.
Yeah.
But what is it? What are they? Are they all together one thing, or is it?
Oh, that's it. Or is it individual? It looked like it could be like the interior bit of a probe droid chassis or something.
Maybe I was thinking like TIE fighter parts.
Sort of, could be.
Really,
it could
big
be
bolts.
They are really big bolts. Like, I'm thinking of like the donut bit of a probe droid. I don't know. Just with the way that it looked like there was almost armatures on it, it could be something.
But the way they go out like an asterisk reminds me of like a wing of a TIE fighter.
Yeah, it could be.
So maybe floor 5 is TIE fighter wing parts, and another floor is something else.
I bet it's nothing. I bet it's nothing.
It's a huge facility.
It's a huge facility. No, I mean, I bet it's something, but I bet it's nothing of like massive amount of import. Nothing that could be sabotaged. Like, it's just cogs in the Imperial machine. Essentially, they're building the cogs that then do the important work as like machinery, because they can't risk sabotage or something. Though again, the Empire's too prideful to think that they ever could. So yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's the ultimate busy work of just,
But I think I don't know.
Interesting.
Adam says
I hadn't thought.
Richard mentions TIE fighter panel part. That's what I kind of think it is. Just the shape, the sort of, it's almost the same shape. And then Adam's like, I feel like they have to be Death Star bits, right?
Could be.
I mean, yeah, but
like we never need
like
to
a
know.
lot of
we never need to know what it is. Yeah. But I mean, you think about the size of the Death Star.
I kind of want to know though.
At this point, like they're building 2 probably concurrently Death Stars. One's a lot bigger than the other. It could be bits of the crane system that is going to be installed on the Death Star 2. There you go. Tristan just wanting it to link to Rebels all the time, wants it to be TIE Defender prototypes. That's what Thrawn's up to at the moment.
I kind of hope we do see what it is. Like, it doesn't, like the way the show is, it's not going to knock you over the head. I mean, we're in episode 8 and we saw an X-Wing for the first time. So it doesn't need to be anything crazy, but if we do get to see the other floors, maybe we can piece it in our head like a puzzle. Maybe we do see TIE fighter panels. They're making TIE fighter panels in 1, and
it's
we get that
drill.
That's enough. But we get enough of it to be like, okay, they're making TIE fighters there, or they're making whatever. I do like they pulled the drills down from the ceiling. You do that at Galaxy's Edge.
Cool.
When you're building your own droid.
You do that in The Mandalorian as well when you want some like slop in your bowl. Adam worked in a factory that built stuff for the military, and everything was super compartmentalized. So again, I think it's that sort of thing. So very much like it fits.
But I wouldn't mind getting a glimpse of each floor, or at least another floor that we can like
just to see that it is different.
Because this whole show is all about like the formation of the rebellion, and we're also getting a glimpse into how the Empire works, and it would be neat to see like how a TIE fighter is built.
Yeah.
Like we sort of seen the construction of the Death Star with the Geonosians and stuff like that, but it would be nice to kind of see how they do things, like them like using the turbines at or the dam at Aldani, and how their system of payment. Like this is the first time I knew that Imperials got paid.
Yeah, that's it. Like, they aren't just sort of conscripted and credited with, I don't know, a degree at the end of it or something. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. It would be nice.
Something.
Like, they're building the parts that then get shipped off to like Fondor or something, to one of the shipyards, like for like Corellia. Actually like putting it all back together. Yeah.
Yeah, like we've seen Corellia and Solo.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
We've heard about Fondor, we've heard about Sinar systems. Like it could be, if it turned out that like this is a Sinar systems paid for prison or something like that, it would definitely be, my mind would definitely go TIE Fighter. Yeah. All right, so you were talking about formation of the rebellion, so that's a really good transition to let's do the brief Luthen and Saw scene.
Okay.
Saw Gerrera pops up in this episode at what is it, Winspit Quarry in Dorset, England. It's about an hour from where I am. I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that the interiors of this were shot at the same place. Which is kind of interesting, because like those caves that you see in that quarry, like they are underneath. You can like walk into them. You can go into it.
I feel like the way the show is, like when they showed that set where they were building the whatever parts, like I'm like, holy crap, this is a really elaborate, cool set.
Yeah.
With the lift that comes down, and then like the hallway with the cells and stuff. I'm like, they're really like going for this lived-in look. So I'm sure if they can get to a location, if they can shoot at that
dam
location,
in those 3 episodes in Scotland, that dam exists, sort of thing. So they will add to it, like they'll set dress it all up and everything, and they'll do some digital backgrounds. But I think it would make sense, and that's why you go to Winspit Quarry, because you've got that sort of. It looks like a rebel base. It looks like somewhere that they'd be hiding out.
We get 2 tubes.
We've got 2 tubes on guard, like keeping an eye on things, which you'd love to see.
Yeah.
We finally see
that's a cameo. Like that's a cameo I'm okay with. He's part of this story. He's a background guy in both, and it's just like that's the majority. I saw Hayden Christensen was trending, and I'm like, God damn it, because I jumped on Twitter. I was on Twitter before I watched the episode to check something. I needed to check something out, and I'm like, fuck, God, don't put Darth Vader in this show.
Don't need it.
And then I realized, like, oh, the Jedi Tales showed up today as well.
Okay, yeah.
So like when I was online, I was like, Ahsoka's trending and Hayden Christensen's trending. I'm like, don't be Andor. And it wasn't. So like, thank God. The Andor's it's right. It's every week I'm so afraid it's going to do something stupid that's going to make me mad. But I'm like,
bad, isn't it? That we're trained to think that way.
But Tony Gilroy seems so focused. This show seems so focused. And so when I see Johnny Two Tubes, or not Johnny Two Tubes, that's what's his there's a guy named Johnny Two Tubes on Star Wars Minute. It's part of their Patreon roll call. There's someone named Johnny Two Tubes. But Two Tubes, when he showed up, I'm like, perfect.
Yep.
It doesn't say anything. He's not a bigger than anything. Yeah.
No, he's in that role that like one of the rebels like on the tower looking and tracking would do. Like it's just it's an establishing shot, and hey, there's this guy. It's great. And then we go in, we see Saw Gerrera at another stage of his life. So I like tracking Saw between all the animated appearances and all the different live action, the video game appearances that we've seen him now. Like, you could fully track his decline in mental and physical health. Like
the story group must be going crazy trying to like.
He's their champion. He's surely he is story group's champion.
But to make sure you nail his continuity.
Yeah.
Like where this falls in line with that video game, which I still haven't played.
5 BBY, like probably halfway through 5 BBY now. Because like we have had some time jumps.
There's got to be some sort of character evolution chart somewhere in Lucasfilm that shows him in his earliest version of Clone Wars.
Yeah. Bad Batch,
all the way to Rogue One, and then like a timeline with
like
his different
where that is there. So there's Clone Wars, there's Bad Batch, there's Rebels. Andor's probably there. There's a book that's here. There's this.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order would be about there.
To Rogue One.
Yeah.
So it's
Catalyst is before that as well. Yeah, there's all sorts. Yeah. He's everywhere.
Visually making sure the continuity works, I'm sure, is a nightmare. There's got
especially as he's getting older as well. Like, so you've got to do more work to make him look younger. Yeah, it's interesting. But I thought there was a really good line in there. They're sort of playing off each other, like asking each other whether or not they were responsible for Aldani. So Luthen's still playing coy, being secretive. Like, he knows that it was him. He was responsible for that mission going off. But he's asking Saw. Saw doesn't buy it. He thinks it probably is Luthen. Man. But it's a sort of playful. They are playful with each other. They know that they're both working towards the same ends, and that they are probably both the more extreme versions of this rebellion so far.
Right. Just Luthen's more quiet about it.
Luthen's more like a spy, whereas Saw is, Che Guevara. He's going in and guerrilla warfare, full guerrilla warfare. And so that was interesting. And then Luthen asks, when are you going to stop fighting against the people you like are on the same side as? Which is that sort of same thing that comes up again and again with that character in Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. Right. It's like he should be right there alongside them in that sort of imperial rebel sort of council room, but
the rebels need to form an alliance.
Exactly. They need to be brought together, and that's kind of what Luthen is also trying to do. But in doing that, he needs to know when to cut off loose ends or like things that could bring it all down, and that is links back to himself. Unfortunately, this week, that was Bix. Yeah. That was the connection back to Ferrix. So he sent Vel and Cinta. So Cinta's now safe and back. I thought that was a bit weird. Like, last time we saw her, she was riding a scooter down the hill, and then we didn't get anything else of her last week. And now she's fine. She got off. That's okay.
I feel like, I saw her. I'm like, oh, she's fine. I literally said it out loud. Oh, she's fine.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things where last week we speculated that Luthen could get off and on the planet, and we saw Val. We saw Val in the on Coruscant last week with
they can
Clea.
Disguise themselves. Yeah, it was her.
It was
Clea.
Luthen said Clea really, really oddly. It literally sounded like he was calling her Leia.
There's two characters that sound similar to Leia. There's Clea, and then there's Mon Mothma's daughter, who's like leader or something. Where it's just like, I mean, you guys, like, I know that Leia is probably in your influence. Like, both of you have probably met Leia at this point, maybe. But different name, maybe. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it was just to throw you off. I think it was just there.
I think so.
But so Clea seems almost more hardline than Luthen at times.
It almost seems like she's in control, and he's like she's the Emperor, or like she's Tarkin and he's Darth Vader. Like, it feels like almost like that.
I don't know. I think it's a case of she knows that I feel like he's the leader of it all, but she's the only person that can see him and call him on the certain slip-ups that he might make. Some of the bullshit. She's the one that is closest to him, so she's able to do that, and he knows that he needs her there for that explicit reason. So it's nice. They work well together. They clearly have like the trust and respect of each other. But I thought it was kind of cold-blooded when she wants to just completely cut off the Ferrix link.
That's probably easier for someone who's just
on the outside of it,
on Coruscant, giving the orders, as opposed to Luthen, who's out in the field talking with these people and probably knows Bix a little bit more personally, and so he's he's like, these are real people we're dealing with. They're relying on us for hope.
This is the rebellion that we're trying to spark.
And she's just like, cut her off. And I'm like, yeah. I mean,
also makes me wonder if Luthen is aware of the mission that Clea has sent Vel and Cinta on to, clean things up, take out Cassian. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if Cinta is given like new orders to clean up any links back to Luthen, and that includes Bix.
Yeah.
If Cinta took out Bix, like while she's in an interrogation chair or something, like sniper shot through the hotel window or something, like that would be really interesting, I think.
Yeah. It was funny that Dedra was like, leave him in here, she needs to see.
And then the what are you doing? Get him out of here quickly. Like, I thought that was really good. Like, I tweeted it out, but it's what was it? It was Miro Dark 30. It wasn't Zero Dark 30, it was Miro Dark 30. And she was fully like, she's going and full in on the Patriot Act. She's torturing, she's waterboarding these people. Like she's gonna get that information that she wants, come hell or high water, whether it's a lie or an actual lead. It's dark.
Her scenes with Cyril were so good. Like them bouncing off each other, like they're both playing this game. And it sounds like he's full on ready to be Imperial.
Oh yeah, he wants to be. Like he wants to be. He's seeing it as an interview, as an audition, and she sees it as a dressing down, and he's going, "You need me. I'm here. I'm your guy. You like bring me in." Right.
He was
I don't like how much I'm liking him, but I am liking him. It's the competency thing. It's like watching the newsroom or something. You enjoy watching smart people do things smartly. And while he was such an idiot in the first 3 episodes, since then he's been dressed down and beaten down, and now it's like he's not wrong. The things that he's saying aren't wrong. I don't agree with his viewpoint, but what he's saying isn't wrong. Same with Dedra.
Yeah, he's super motivated. He's really motivated. He's going to get there. And I mean, it's like season 1 probably ends. I don't know. This is stupid Star Wars speculation that we do in other shows. Putting on the uniform. We're finally going to see him get to put on his own boots, his Imperial collar, all of this stuff where they're focusing on clothing.
Do you think it'll be a full white suit, or do you think it'll be the gray that like her assistant has?
He's in gray now, so I could see them upping him from like low level. I would like to see him in white.
I think it'd be good. I think like season 1 ends with that, and then season 2 is like he's hunting Cassian still, but like from that high level. Maybe we see that maybe season 2 we get some Agent Callus being dispatched by that. Callus is the sort of person that like, I know as a cameo, like I'd be okay with Callus because of how it would link in with the ISB side of things. Like it'd be interesting. Or just the first episode, season 2, he's dispatched to supervise the whatever system it is. I can't remember the name of the planet from Rebels. So many names.
I'm so like anxious about cameos. I really am. We get another Palpatine name drop. That's fine. He needs to be a looming presence, but we don't need to see him. I think that the fact that all these people worship Palpatine, but they never see him, I think is more powerful than them being able to see him all the time. So
all of
it adds to the mystique.
All of the walk and talks at Mon Mothma's parties, I keep on expecting her to sort of like round a corner and then like bump into Masa Maida and just like have to look up at like that big blue face and the horns and everything. Like, because I feel like that's oh shit, I've just walked into essentially like a major adversary here, but without it being, because Palpatine's not going to one of these parties. There's no chance. But I feel like Masa Maida would be.
Yeah. I like the parties where it almost, you get this sense that she's spending way too much time talking to what's his name, the banker.
Yeah.
Ty Coleman. almost to the point where the daughter's
high
like looking
concept.
at it and noticing it, and the husband, when she came up and said, "Where did he go? Where did Tay go?" And it's like almost feels like they're what it feels like is when your spouse is talking too much with that dude over in the corner at a party, you start thinking things. And then she comes up to you and asks about him and stuff. And so they're like setting it up
especially
the
when their marriage is not the most like stable and like, they're not great.
It's such great tension because it's like everything's wrapped up in this big like galactic spy ring.
Yeah.
And the husband's like,
I love that
not trusting her. The
Perrin and
daughter's
Mon
not trusting her.
No, I love that Perrin and Mon got a conversation before everyone else got there, sort of thing, early on at the bar where they're having their tequila shots, and he wants the worm, she doesn't, so he has two. And I thought that was really interesting that like they got to have this conversation where there was almost some affection, or it was a memory of reflection. It was basically a divorced or divorcing couple, but just being like, all right, we're here. You know, we once upon a time had some affection for each other, but now there's nothing left. And then when they're talking to Tay, there's like just snide remarks. Oh, you remember Perrin at 15, don't you? And you know, oh yeah, you're talking to her a lot these days, aren't you? You seem to be around a lot. Thought you didn't like it here. Like, there's a lot of it, and it's I mean, I get why he'd be a dick, but not that point. Not to that point. Yeah. That, I mean, I feel like she's gonna sacrifice her family, maybe not to death or anything, but like she's gonna sacrifice. Her sacrifice will be having to leave the family, or cut them out, or throw them under the bus for something. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea. What did she refer to him as? He used to be the firebrand of the academy or something. Like, it sounded like he used to have some actual opinions and thoughts and stuff, and something going on in his head, as opposed to just being this nothing person. Sort of quite a vapid party goer.
Yeah. I still want Tay to be shoved out the window.
Oh yeah, I mean that window that they keep on looking at. Yeah, let's just do it. That'd be great. You want Tay to be thrown out the window?
Oh no, not Tay.
Perrin.
Not Tay. Yeah, Perrin. That's right.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Tay's cool. I'm down with Tay. He's got cool fashion.
He's a banker, but he seems all right. Yeah, he does have good fashion. He's got good action figure fashion. And he's rocking that white hair. He looks all right. What else have we got here? There's the stuff back on Ferrex. We didn't sort of talk about. We talked about Deidre's side of it and the interrogation scene, but Bix and Brazo are both looking after Marva. Yeah. Which was really nice, and sort of saying like, you need some help, you need someone, and B2, bless him, he's like, she's got me, I'm here. It's like,
she busted her leg. She's busted her leg, has pneumonia.
She had a fall.
Trying to like,
she's of that age where she doesn't fall down, she has a fall.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
She's trying to get into the hotel or spy on the hotel.
Yeah, like what were you doing, like across the square sort of thing? Like, what were you doing? Like, she seems like she is rebelling, but she's the only one so far.
That's what's fun about this whole thing, is like everyone is rebelling, like in Cassian's life, both on Ferrex and then on the prison planet with the guys doing the sign language and stuff. Like, it's Cassian can't run away from any sort of rebellion. He can't.
But everyone has their own rebellion. So you've got Marva and Bix and Brazo and the Pax and everyone else on Ferrex have got their own little rebellion. You've got Vel and Cinta have got their own little rebellion, and then even between the two of them, like, they don't agree. You've got Luthen, you've got Saw, you've got Mon Mothma, you've got Cassian, and it's like alliance. Like,
right. And even when you look at, even though the conditions are really shitty in the prison, like just watching Cassian see all the different floors and all the prisoners, so many prisoners, I'm like, how many can get through to the guards before they hit the floor?
Yeah, you got 7 seconds. You can bum rush something in 7 seconds. Like, a bunch of you can, not all of you, but enough of you can.
some of you are going to get taken out, but there's definitely more of you. That's why
Exactly.
it's so crazy when they first get brought in, that small group, and they have like the Imperial have such a like specific way of doing things. Bring them in, face forward, hands up,
like one step, two
dudes,
steps, stop. Yeah.
It's so like just compartmental. It's just like little, like it's
but
so
then,
by the book.
But then,
and I feel like
as Andy Serkis says, it's like you won't see them again. Like they're done. Like they leave us to it because they're self-governing. Like they're forced to self-govern to
yeah.
It's the prisoner's dilemma, isn't it? It's they all have to work together, otherwise they all get punished.
Yeah.
Or like one can get punished harder on it, or it's tough. It's really tough.
Now they're just being managed by a disembodied voice.
That's it. Like it's just that was kind of like what was it, Squid Gamey, like with just the voice being like, this lot going through here, or you guys are falling behind. And then he's just like, right, okay. He could just like, yeah, we're falling behind with the shit group, we're the shit floor this shift. But he's so into it, he's so prideful that he's like, right, it's gonna be a sprint, 39 minutes. That's what we got to do. Bang, bang, bang. And he seems to have his people whipped into shape like a lot more. Adam's saying that the voice felt sort of Vaderish, which is a little bit. I think I was just sort of a synthesized voice. I didn't hear it as Vader, but it's coming through a voice box, so it's going to have some similarities. It's just in universe sort of continuity, I guess. Right. I'm looking forward to. The way that it cut when Bix ran. It cut, and then we got someone on a ship. I think it was when we cut to Vel leaving on the ship as well. And I was like, okay, cool. So maybe Bix does get away, but then she's dragged in. Between Brazo, the dad pack, not the son. All of these people being sort of taken away, rounded up, fighting back in their own way. Brazo is the one who says run, and then sort of tries to body block some stormtroopers and things like that. They're ready. They're so ready to rebel there, and
they're still tapping their metal.
Exactly, like that's what set Bix off in the first place. Like they're hearing it. Like they're all being warned. They're all there. Everyone is ready. Yeah, it's almost like you don't even need to say it. Someone just needs to start throwing stones again. I feel like this time they wouldn't be hiding. They'd actually all jump on it.
There's so many more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way, isn't it? It's always the way. It's the ones who've got guns. It's the fear.
Yeah.
It's controlling through fear as opposed to controlling through power.
Yeah. It show's really well done.
It really is. Really that's it. I don't have any more notes. I like that there's the ISB are calling Luthen Axis at the moment because they don't have an actual name for him.
Right.
So like he's access to them. Like he have another any number of code names to the rebellion. We know that the rebellion use code names as well. So it's an interesting sort of parallel between the two sides.
Okay.
Great. It's great. I mean, I guess what do we think we're next week? Is Prison Break?
If we're sticking to this 3-story arc, I assume so.
Everything that they've said is that like 7 was sort of standalone, and then we got 2 episodes here. So this is or maybe it was 3 here and then 2. Yeah, 3 here and then 2 at the end. So maybe not Prison Break next week. Maybe not.
9, 10,
and then 2.
Probably. Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah. Because next week's 9, and then we will have the final one being 10, 11, 12.
Okay. Interesting. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it shows.
Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't feel like it's all... It feels like one big story, I'm sure.
They are slightly longer episodes than the other Star Wars shows. Like, the first 3 weren't, but everything since then has been just slightly longer. And it just doesn't feel like there's any wasted space. It doesn't feel packed or confusing at any point. But it moves at a good speed. I just don't get the people saying that the show is boring. I just don't understand it at all.
I've not people talking. The big action scene in this episode was Bix running from the Imperials for like 10 seconds.
And a guy committing suicide by floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, but yeah, I mean, I think we were joking about it. It's like the people saying that it's boring. It's like, yeah, they want less talky, more pew. No, it's just not. It's just not boring at all. It's so good. It's captivating.
Yeah. The old guy at Andor's table workstation.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but he's the guy that says, "Who are you?" when Batman says, "I'm Batman."
In the Batman.
No, in Batman. In Michael Keaton. 89. He's the dude that Michael Keaton holds over the ledge and says, "Who are you?" I'm Batman. It's that guy.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say he had very much like a character actor background guy face. Like he looked familiar enough, but I just assumed he was going to be.
I want to say he's in Guardians of the Galaxy when they're
in that prison.
No, not in a prison. He's in he's like an antiques dealer type of guy.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
where they've got the ball.
Where you first meet Rocket, the ball and the Rocket.
I know exactly the scene you mean.
Yeah. He's that dude. I like that. He shows up in a ton of shit.
Yeah, good face.
I think he's UK based. I don't even know if he's British, but he's one of those actors that shows up in these kinds of things.
Probably. Yeah,
he's probably been in every.
I'm sure he's walking around the background of EastEnders or something.
But another actor from Star Wars in '89 Batman.
Yeah. Haven't had one for a little while, have we?
Yeah, Biggs, Lando, Porkins.
Yeah, if you flew for the rebellion, there was a good chance that you were in Batman.
Yeah.
It's cool. Other than Prison Break coming up soon, I don't really know anything of what to expect or speculate, and it
only feels like it's too soon for the Prison Break because he just got in on this episode as opposed to the first of the three. But I can see them fast tracking the Prison Break. They already set up the guys speaking sign language. I feel like the dude that showed up late to his post, maybe the guy who stops the floor from being electrified. Like they're communicating, our guy is here now. Okay, cool. We're gonna do this.
Does Batman 89 guy have another space heart attack, collapse out of his cell that triggers the floor, so they have to kill the floor, and then that's when Melshi and Cassian have to run out. They're stopped by Andy Serkis. Then they have to tackle and fight with Andy Serkis. That's when Andy Serkis gets the scar down his face. He's on the floor. He gets burnt. His head grows. He becomes Snoke. Figured it all out, everybody. That's it. That's the show. That doesn't happen. The show is trash, and no one should ever watch it.
There's smoke coming off of him, and they said Snoke. No, I said smoke. Like, what?
That's it. We put it all together, everybody.
Yeah.
This is why you watch us, for this cutting analysis of everything.
Yeah, he's it's been 30 days, so he's already.
And it sounded like it'd been a few months, like in between a couple of episodes. Anyway, like it sounds like there has been some time moving, because even when Deidre brought in Cyril at the beginning, she said he'd been there like less than a month. So yeah, it's been a few months, I think, since in between. Interesting. It's all good stuff. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. I think we can wrap up. While Ralph has a victory sip there, we've done it.
I'm really thirsty.
Yeah, I forgot to get a drink. That's why I think I'm wanting to wrap up. I can have a quick drink before.
That was me last week. I forgot to bring my drink, and I was so sad.
Dry.
So sad.
Follow us everywhere. Live Action SW. Subscribe on YouTube. Do all of those cool, fun things. Tell people. Share. Just share the show with other people.
Go over to the Holdo Maneuver podcast with Mark. I'm going to be on that this week.
Awesome. You guys talking about this week's episode?
talking about this episode again.
Awesome.
So if I watch it a second time, I might have more to bring to the table, but we'll see. It's a great show, and I mean, don't mind a little self plug. My show, Cue the Music, at cuethemusicpodcast.com. Last week I did a sit down with Michael Giacchino. No Star Wars talk. That got cut out. We talked a little bit about Andor, and dude loves that show. I feel like
it's a nice little sign off, isn't it? When like Michael Giacchino's giving it his thumbs up as well. Like,
yeah, huge praises for Tony Gilroy, and just had some things to say. You won't see any of that. It got cut because we felt it was fine, but
inappropriate.
It's just, but like, dude, like this show, it's awesome.
Really
I love it. I love the show. It's so good. I feel like an adult watching this show. Like Star Wars makes me feel like a kid, and that's why I like watching the shows. But this one, I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna go watch the Star Wars show.
It feels more prestige TV than the other ones, definitely.
Right. And this is like the first Star Wars show that I'm hoping gets like acting Emmys nominations, as opposed to just like all the Star Wars shows get technical stuff, but like
it could get
editing,
it could get cinematography, like it could get
all of that stuff.
All of it.
Acting.
There's a lot to compete with this year, but like it deserves the nominations at the very least, I think.
I only hear those other shows people complaining about them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But why aren't people complaining about this show? It's weird. It feels weird. I know.
Don't encourage them.
I feel like every week is a tight wire act between what we're seeing on screen and like them like not indulging themselves in the whole Star Warsness of it. They're focused on the story,
and they're staying on as opposed to stumbling. Yeah.
And then also this fine line of like Twitter being okay with Star Wars.
It's nice, isn't
so
it?
Now we have Tales of the Jedi out now, so hopefully
maybe we could do like later on, like when we've watched it all, potentially we'll do like a data link episode or something. Maybe we'll see if we've got anything to say about it, then we might do that. But I'll be watching it. Like, I'll probably tweet about it later on tonight.
I'm hoping any sort of discourse, Star Wars discourse, it comes from that now. There's another thing for people to
there's action, there's pew pew. Yeah.
So Andor's like still kind of sneaking its way through the internet.
Yeah,
good.
It's great.
I love it. I love it
like a paranoid little spy. Quick programming thing. Next week, British summertime will be over, but your clocks won't have changed there. So it will still be 7:30 a.m. West Coast time, but it'll be 2:30 p.m. UK time, which means that we've got a little bit longer. So we might be able to go a little bit longer. If we've got any guests, we might be able to get a guest on next week. Or if not, we'll just be able to ramble longer talking about the show without me having to rush off. But until then, okay, you do that, Nick. Have fun. But yeah,
it's really good.
It really is good. Until next week, don't give it to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.